Okay, I think that's it. I think we're live. Just make sure you don't pick your hands up.
Why?
Because you don't have them on anymore?
Yes.
How is everyone doing? Of course, we're, completely disheveled at the moment as we are getting things going here tonight. Lisa came in here wearing bright red gloves with her bright yellow shirt. This is my life here.
And
this
my
is what
socks,
happens.
They're these.
Yep.
It's freezing in here. It's so cold.
I did just turn the heat on. So everybody's saying audio video is good. Thank you.
Great.
We've developed an army of people who make us aware that the audio and video is good. And thank you for that, because I do worry. I had a little bit of a history back in the day of that. So it's nice to, this is really bothering me here. Okay, there we go. So anyway, how is everyone doing? Welcome. We do this every single Thursday night. We have all kinds of fun, and we very rarely have any kind of plan for what we're doing. We just kind of turn this on and wing it. We have an agenda. It's not really a plan. It's okay. We've got this that we want to talk about, and we just see where it goes.
Right.
And you are not going to steal my topic, my biggest regret. You're not going to steal it.
Oh, you have no idea what mine is.
Okay, good.
And it kind of came to me in the last hour.
It still better not be the one that mine is. Now, a couple of things to talk about here as we wait for people to file in. First of all, I still don't have a firm hold on the setup here. I don't know how we really look. I'm trying to look and see how we look on camera as far as the configuration goes. I'm kind of staring straight at the computer, whether I look at you or not.
Right.
You are still kind of looking off into Neverland when you talk to me. But anyway.
Well, I'm looking right at you.
Well, I know, but I'm saying on the camera, it looks a little bit weird. But the big news of the day is what you see behind Marie. We've got that tank up and running. I feel so good about it. I'm really happy with the way it looks. If you could just do me the littlest favor and maybe tilt your head over so that people can see
But I'm the yellow lab.
I know.
That's why I wore the yellow
I
shirt.
just want people to see. I'm not saying get off camera. I'm just saying a little bit so that people don't fall, so that people can see the masterful rock formation that I have put in there. I don't know if it's going to stay that way, but I have a whole, really it's going to be like 2 videos that are going to be the setup of that tank. The filtration, I'm not going to show it to you on the live stream. You're going to have to wait to see it on the videos, but it's a very simple sump filtration system that I have on there. And I think you're going to be surprised at just how simple it is when you see that. It seems to be working really well. Of course, I've only had the tank running for about 5 hours. So we'll have to see how that goes. But it's so far so good. And I'm so happy. Don't look at the super chat that Bob just sent.
I just saw it.
Because he's Bob doing Bob things.
That's
is what
okay.
he's doing.
That's okay.
How dare you,
There's
Bob?
nothing wrong with 50. 50 is beautiful. Look at Candy Overhaul's. Oh, shoot. I should not have said her age.
You shouldn't have said it because that's not her age. How dare you?
I think Bob made that one up too.
Everybody on here knows
Jeez.
that Candy Overhauls is 31 years old. Everybody knows that.
Oh my gosh, definitely.
So listen, couple of videos coming out about that tank. I'm really excited about it. I'm also very excited about what's coming here 2 weeks from today or tomorrow. It's hard to explain, but either Thursday or Friday they will arrive. The fish for that tank will arrive in approximately 2 weeks. Now, the thing is, I wanted to do a total fish less cycle in this. I'm not going to get it cycled in 2 weeks. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't know. But I think that it's going to be a really good thing to use for videos showing, hey, this is how you cycle an aquarium. And then once you get there, if you add fish, this is what you can expect. You know what I mean? I mean, if I had my way, I would put fish in day one, but I'm certainly not going to suggest that a brand new fish keeper do that. You know,
Right.
let's get the tank through the cycle first and all of that nonsense. But that's what I would do because I've done that with 1,000 tanks. I don't know that I would want to promote that to new fish keepers though. But in these videos, I'm going to kind of show both. I'm going to show, you know, here's how you would do it with no fish. We'll let it go that way for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to put fish in there, and then we'll be good to go. So excited about that. The video coming up on Sunday is going to be about setting up the filtration, and then the next video will be about the magnificent aquascape that I have in there, as well as the substrate
But
and
you forgot something.
What?
You didn't say your weight in the beginning.
I didn't, and I'm not lying to anybody. I didn't weigh myself today. I didn't go down. I know that.
Oh. Well, the scale is right behind
No,
you.
I'm not doing that after that delicious dinner you just ate. I probably gained 5 pounds eating that dinner. You know, it's right around the same. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to avoid anything, folks. I just, I didn't weigh myself today. I'm not getting on the scale every single day. And so I forgot to do that today, and I'm sorry. Did you thought of that, or did somebody put that in the chat?
Oh, it was in chat.
Somebody was actually curious to know. That's cool. I like it.
I lost 3 pounds
She did.
since last week.
Anyway, yeah, I'm a little jealous of that. But I've let me tell you what I did today for my exercise today. I took a walk,
Oh, yeah.
and if you live in King George, if you were driving through the Dahlgren area and you saw a guy walking down the street carrying a brown chihuahua and then having a white chihuahua in a little bag that was hanging from a shoulder sling thing. Yeah, that was me. There had to have been a lot of people looking at me like, all right, look at that there. One dog is good on a leash. The other one is terrible, and she doesn't even like going for walks. So I put her in the little bag. The other one is great on a leash, but I was on a busy road, and I was afraid his little 5-pound self would run out there and get hit by a car. I've had that happen one too many times with a dog, so I picked him up while I was on the busy street and then put him back down once I got off of that. So I looked like a total diva walking down the street with a chihuahua in a bag and carrying the other one. I was one of those people today.
Yeah, I bought the bag like 2 years ago because I couldn't get Mags to walk on a leash. So I was like, oh, get her a doggy bag and carry her around in like a purse thing.
And she loves it. She just sits there with her head hanging out and she looks around, barks at everything that moves, but she loves it. She does great with that. So yeah, that would have been me today. And you'll see me walking like that regularly until I start running. And then who knows what's going to happen. I might become the next David Goggins. Who knows? But I'm going to try because I love that man. I think he's...
Who?
You don't even know who he is. You've never heard of him. Believe me, I promise you've never heard of him, but he's an amazing human being, and I would love to be him. This guy did 8 ultra marathons, which are 100 miles, in 8 weeks.
Okay.
8 100-mile marathons in 8 weeks.
Does that require running?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
And he's
do
a guy that used to weigh 297 pounds. But anyway, who cares about all of that? David Goggins is amazing. If you haven't heard of him, go check him out. So anyway, that's, I don't know somebody was curious about the weight. So yeah, it's crunch time now because I've kind of hit that plateau of where I can get just with changing my diet. So now it's time to start to introduce new stuff. And I'm on the fence about wanting a Peloton. I want one really bad, but then again, I don't. If anyone in the chat has a Peloton, let me know and let me know what you think of it. But I don't know if I said this earlier. I think I did. 2 weeks from today or 2 weeks from tomorrow, the fish will be here. Yeah, that's what got me started on the whole cycling thing. Very excited about that. I don't know how many they're going to be, but I'm excited. They heard me say I want 40 or 50 of them, and then they offered to send them. So I would imagine they know the number.
I'm excited because the rocks, some of the rocks in there have like little holes in them, and it's perfect for the fry. So I'm so excited for little babies to hide in those little rocks.
So it is going to be cute. And that's the whole reason why they're there. If I had my way, I am a minimalist person when it comes to aquariums. I would have nothing in there at all and just have the fish in there. But with Mbunas, they're going to breed. They're not going to send us all males or all females, either of which would look wonderful.
Yeah.
Because the males and females of yellow labs are beautiful. But they're going to have babies. I mean, we're going to have males and females. There's going to be babies, and having all of those rocks in there will definitely give them somewhere to survive.
I think we're going to end up having some grow out tanks next to the. Yeah, I feel like that's going to happen. Ooh, you know what? I just saw Melissa Jeswold super chat, but the reason why I'm bringing her name up, Melissa, I messaged you, I think 4 or 5 days ago on Instagram. So check that out because I had a question for you. I didn't know any other way to get in touch with you.
A couple of people are commenting that Pelotons are not worth what they cost. They are expensive. They're expensive. But when you think about gym memberships and stuff like that, which yes, we both have one, and can't say we're getting our money's worth there, and it's not the gym's fault. It's our fault and it's COVID's fault. At least that's the excuse. But anyway, I don't want to talk about all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the rocks, I think you're going to be a little entertained when you watch the video of how I aquascaped that, because it was actually kind of fun the way I did that glamorous
I thought you just
aquascape
threw
there.
it all in there.
Basically, that's exactly what I did.
That's what I thought.
But yeah, there is, in my opinion, one of the cutest things in the aquarium hobby, and I don't think it can be matched by anything, is yellow lab fry. They are
super cute.
They are one of the cutest things you will ever see in your life, and having all of those rocks there just randomly, being able to look in there and see those little teeny tiny yellow lab heads stick out, it's going to be an amazing thing, and I can't wait for that to happen.
I just saw a really cool response. Kay Walker said, "Housework will sort you out, John." I think that is the best comment so
That person's getting banned. What is their name again? I'm going to block them. Mods, block that person. Anyway, we won't go there because you're going to get me in trouble, whoever said that. Because, yeah, I definitely don't hold my weight when it comes to housework around here. But anyway, let's move on, shall we? Get myself in trouble here. Somebody did comment a couple of seconds ago, "Hi, doggies. You're my favorite customer." You probably saw that in the video and had no clue what that was from. I am so glad. What? I didn't ask you for help, Siri. Sorry. I was so glad to see quite a few people got that. I try to do that. I try to throw out little Easter eggs and see if people will acknowledge that. And that's from the best, worst movie ever made, called The Room. Anybody that was wondering about that, if you watched my video on Sunday and you saw me say, "Hi, doggies," and then as I'm going out the door, I said, "You're my favorite customer," just type in The Room flower shop scene and you'll see exactly where that came from. I love adding little movie things like that. But somebody commented that in the chat, and I was thrilled to see that because I love to see people get it.
Right.
When they get it. I love that. So anyway, 15 minutes in and we're going with the main topic. That's exciting. Unless you have anything you want to talk about?
No, because I have 8% left on my tablet. So if something happens, I won't even be able to see chat. Well, I guess I could pick my phone up and use it, but
I mean, you're plugged right in. You plug directly into the wall. I don't understand that.
Something's wrong with it.
So I want to get into this. I want to talk about two things that I regret. I will go through the super chats real quick, even though one of them is a really nasty one from that guy over in Seattle. But I kind of want you to go through your regret first, because mine's going to be a bit of a long one. It's going to be a long one. That's the way I do things. So I want you to be able to go through that. But before we do that, Steenfot Aquatics, how dare you? Furloughs Aquatics, our guy from Florida. Happy Thursday, you guys. Hope to maybe see y'all in Orlando in June for Aquashella.
Oh, cool.
I've got my fingers crossed. If it happens, we will be there. That's the promise. I mean, unless something absolutely catastrophic happens, we will be there, and I am so much looking forward to it. I started having these grand ideas of, hey, we can call people we know, and we can go tour this and tour that, and you were like, yeah, but we've got a business to run, and that's true. So I don't think we're going to be down there for much longer than the weekend. Probably go fly in Saturday. Yeah, hopefully fly. I said Saturday, but I mean Friday. Fly in Friday, and then fly home Monday. That's the hope. I would really rather fly 2.5 hours than to drive 19. So maybe you should start preparing yourself now for that flight, because I mean, we could just put you to sleep and I'll wake you up when we get there. That'd be easier, because driving down there.
The thing is, I used to be fine with flying. I mean, I flew to California a couple times, did fine, but couldn't fly.
Maybe it's me.
Maybe it is.
When you fly with me, you freak out. You freaked out when we flew to Florida that one time because the plane went.
Well, it was my first time flying.
That was on the way home, though, when you freaked out.
Second.
But anyway, yeah, furlough. I absolutely hope to be meeting you down there too. I've had a lot of people comment about that. Are you going to be in Florida and all that? And all I can say is, if it happens and it doesn't get shut down because of the world ending, then we're going to be there.
At least you'll be there. A worst case scenario, I wouldn't be there.
If I go down there by myself, I'm going to stay down there like 5 days, because I'm going to go to that place and that place and that place. It's going to be a whole big thing.
Gotcha.
So you got to understand that you'd be signing up for more than just 2 days without me. I don't know how you would function without me.
You're so funny tonight.
BY, I got to move this over because I can't look that far over. BYZ513, what's the weight, brother? Yeah, that's where I saw that. Yeah, sorry. I'm just going to say 221 because I didn't go up or down. At least I don't think I went up. But if I went up, it was probably by like a half a pound. So, and I did not intentionally avoid that, I promise. Fish Tank Barn, you forgot your number, my friend. I will have to buy ice cream if you don't say anything. Wow. People are really wanting to know. Jeez, I'm going to have to go David Goggins style, make sure I have a big number next week. Thank you, Mike. A.M. Paulson, any advice for ordering fish online? Can't get a fish anywhere near me, so thinking of doing that. Ordering fish online, particularly if it's a betta, yeah, I can tell you a real good place to order one. But ordering fish online is not as intimidating as you think. It's actually quite simple, especially when you consider there are so many ways to see reviews for the retailers, whether you're looking for whatever you're looking for. It doesn't matter what kind of fish you're looking for, even saltwater fish. There's so many ways of seeing what the people are saying, what the people be saying about that particular retailer. So you can get a real comfortable feeling or not comfortable feeling about that retailer. You just have to know that you're taking on a pretty big expense when it comes to shipping. A lot of people are surprised by that, particularly this time of year, because most retailers, including us, are only offering overnight shipping or priority express. Whereas if it's the spring, summer, or mid to late spring, all of summer, early to mid fall, you can even get priority express, or not priority express, but priority mail. Through us you can anyway, because bettas ship well for that. But in the wintertime, you have to pay overnight. So if you're ordering from a place in Florida,
Right.
and you live in Utah or you live in Oregon, you know, you're going to pay quite a bit for shipping. So you just got to know that going in. But it's absolutely worth it because you have access to every fish in the world online. So Melissa Jeswald, there she is. Biggest regret, using all the additives, clarity, stability, et cetera, when there's no reason. I thought was hedging my bets, but I was killing fish. All I need is dechlorinator. Fish 100% now. Yeah. We will get into that further. I will go back to this, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a little bit of what I have planned to talk about when it comes to this particular topic, Melissa. So yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Matt or Apollo. Hi, Lisa and John. Sorry I've missed your live streams lately. Been working on my breeding projects.
Nice.
Angelfish and electric blue acaras. By the way, John, congrats on the weight loss. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Thank you both. Yeah, you know, like I said earlier, the weight loss has kind of hit, it's not a plateau, but it's just kind of hit a wall where I made a change a month ago and I lost what I was going to lose from that. And now I need to make another change and I'm doing that now. So don't congratulate me yet. I got a long way to go. But thank you, Matt. Eden's Tuning. That's a cool name.
Nice.
It is tuning. Poop, poop, poop. Thanks for the quality content and weekly entertainment. I watch weekly, but I finally made it to a live stream. Well, that's cool. Thank you for joining us. Last week's video took a bit of a chance on that one. And I was talking to this beautiful woman sitting across the table from me. I was talking to her quite a bit about, I don't know if I even want to include this in the video. Because
I liked it a lot.
Well, I liked it too, but it's one of those things that sometimes, and in fact, there were a couple of people that commented, this isn't what I'm here for. And you know, it is what it is, but I just wanted to explore a little bit, literally and figuratively. I'm not going to be doing that every week, these long things. But I just thought I would have some fun with it.
The funny thing about that is, I think it was the day before, we were going to go out there together and do this. I had, you know, my little beanie on, my scarf ready to go. And we got there and I was like,
there was a lot of people there.
I can't do this with people around. I just can't. I'm not comfortable doing this with people walking around, seeing me talk to a camera. It just, there was something about it. So he went back out without me and did it. And I think it turned out better than what it would have been if I was there.
I don't know. If you were with me, I would have done the entire video out there. That was the plan. Well, I was going to go out there and I was going to record the whole video out there. You were going to be a part of it. But just like your situation, there were so many people out there. In fact, when I went to the beach area, which is in the video, and I was flying my drone, this family came up and they were weird. I mean, they were like, let's take our son to the beach and sit at a picnic table and read him a book. It was really...
Oh my gosh, reading books to a kid?
After walking 2.5 miles to a beach? Come on. I mean, that's... But anyway, I
Sound
swear...
like good parents to me.
I swear I heard the guy say something along the lines of, I was having so much fun until this rude guy came and started flying his little toy.
Oh.
And I felt like saying, how dare you say it's a toy? I paid $1,200 for this thing. You paid $1,200 for this thing. But I was just like, okay, on that note, I'm going to go. But
were you wearing your Oscar shirt? Because I would have said, you should have just turned around.
I turned around. No, I was wearing a hoodie. But, you know, it is what it is. So, but anyway. It skipped. Where'd it go? Faith Sykes, did you say no substrate is okay? That tank behind me, 0 substrate. Mm-hmm. The tank behind Marie, 160 pounds of substrate. No substrate is perfectly fine depending on what it is that you're keeping. There are some fish that are going to appreciate having a substrate. That tank, I didn't have to put a substrate in there for the yellow labs. It's not like they're going to be digging around in it or anything like that. But I did it just for aesthetics, really. And I mean, it is... I don't know. I'm kind of regretting. No, that's not going to be my regret for fish keeping in this video. But I am kind of regretting not having substrate in there. I may add it someday, but it just shows everything. And, you know, I kind of would like the opportunity to be able to hide some of the nonsense that's going on the bottom of that tank. But yeah, you are not required to have substrate unless your tank requires substrate. Does that make sense? If you're going to be keeping fish that want it, or if you're going to be keeping live plants that need to be buried and all of that kind of stuff, then yeah, you would need it. But not all fish require substrates, and so it's a matter of your personal preference. One more, David Kingston, love the channel, keep up the great work. Well, that's a nice one to end it on. Not end it. We will get to them eventually. But do you want to do your regret first? I think you should.
Okay.
I've been talking a lot.
Okay, so my biggest regret is not educating my children more on keeping fish. We've been keeping fish for so many years, had a fish store, go on YouTube, make videos about fish, but I wish we had pushed the kids a little bit more, or I don't want to say pushed them or forced them, but I wish we had encouraged them more to learn about fish. And the reason why I chose this one is because I got a text tonight from my son, who is going to be 26 in a couple weeks. And he says to me, "Can we put goldfish in the tank you got us?"
The 5-gallon tank you got us.
It's a 7-gallon.
Oh, that's so much better.
I got it last March for a housewarming gift, because what else would you get somebody for a housewarming gift that doesn't have a fish tank? So I got them that. So yeah, asking me after living with us, growing up around fish, he asks me if he could put a goldfish in a 7-gallon tank. So yes, I wish we had educated them a little bit more.
But you know, the good thing though is we educated him enough to where he at least asked.
Yeah.
Rather than just doing it, because a lot of
Right.
people would just do it. Put the goldfish because they see them on the box and stuff like that. Not on that box, but they go to PetSmart and they see them on the box for the 5-gallon starter kit, and they're like, well, it says right here that we can do it. So yeah, at least he asked, which that's good. That's a positive thing. I completely agree with that though.
And Mattman B, he was not being sarcastic. He was 100% serious.
No, he's never sarcastic ever about anything. No, it's true. He might even be here watching tonight. You're probably looking at the chat to see if he pops up. But no, I do agree with that, because this is what we do for a living. So it would be kind of nice. And plus, you know, what's going to happen when this is all over? Where's it going to go? It'd be nice to be able to pass the business down to kids that at least have some kind of an interest in it. But doesn't always work out that way. So
I say we sell it, retire, and move to Virginia Beach. Just kidding.
if you said, listen to me, if you said Florida, I would have looked into this camera and said, KG Tropicals and fishkeeping.com are officially for sale, because I would love to move to Florida. But no, my regret, my regret goes a little deeper than that. It's not better, but it goes a little deeper.
That's okay. It's not a competition here.
I know, but I also know that you feel the exact same way I do when it comes to this. And I've got to do it the only way I know how to do it, which is to tell a little bit of a story. It's going to be brief, I promise. I'm going to do my best for it to be brief.
Story time.
Time to kick back and relax. Okay. Like Mike says, grab a healthy beverage and snack, and here we go. So 2011 and 2012, we had 127 aquariums in our oversized 2-car garage. It was really more like a 3-car garage, but there was only 2 doors on it, or 1 door, but it was the double door. Anyway, large 2-car garage. We had 127 tanks in there, and they were set up very nicely. It was very efficient in there. It looked very nice. There's plenty of videos on it on the channel. You got to go basically all the way back, go to videos and then sort by date and watch like the first probably 20 videos that we did. You'll see the setup that we had out there. Loved it. And we loved it. We had so much fun. It was a joy to be out there. We spent a lot of time out there. We were breeding, I think, 29 different types of African cichlids. We had a tank very similar in size to that. It wasn't quite as deep. It was a 240 instead of a 360, but it was just it was a beautiful place to be. We were breeding fish like crazy. I mean, African cichlids are not the most difficult fish in the world to breed.
It's like guppies. They're so easy to breed.
They're easy, but we did well at it. We were breeding them like crazy, and we had tons and tons and tons of them, and it was fun. I mean, we were enjoying raising these fry, and it was so much fun for you to come home and be like, oh, there's a mama over there, and there's a new mama, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but we were enjoying ourselves very much. And we had a plan. We knew what we were going to do. And it was going to be a while, but we knew what our plan was to grow the business there, establish the business there, and then move the business into a facility of some type. We didn't know if we wanted to start a fish store or if we just wanted to open a hatchery that wasn't open to the public. But the point is, we loved doing what we were doing, and we were doing it well, and everything was going exactly the way we wanted it to go. But I have a little bit of a problem, and I am going to take the fall on this one because I do have a bit of an impulse problem. And I was driving home from work one day, and I passed by this little building on Kings Highway in King George, Virginia. And it said for rent. It was an auto parts store. And it was 100 yards from our house. And I saw that. I'm pretty sure I saw it first, that it was for rent.
But we had talked about that building prior to it being for rent. Because I was like, wouldn't that be the perfect store to have a fish store? So, and then it came available like a month later.
Yep. Right across the street from our house, it became available. And this was not part of our plan. It was not what we intended to do. In fact, our dream building was on the complete opposite side of town. It was way bigger and way more expensive. But that was our dream, was to move into this other building. But then this one came available. And so my mind starts processing it. Hey, look, it's right across the street from our house. It's perfect. The space, because we went in it when it was the auto parts store and walked around it, and it was like, oh, wow, this is great. We got this warehouse. We've got the retail area. There's a basement. This is awesome. It's perfect. And the rent was the right amount. It was great. And I regret saying, let's do it. And I don't know if I said let's do it or if you said it first. I don't know which one, because
it sounds good that you take the blame.
I'll take the hit. That's fine.
Okay.
Because I understand my lack of impulse control. What I should have done was said, you know what? That would be awesome, but we're not ready. But that's not what we did. And we had a really good situation, and we ruined it by moving into that building too fast. It wasn't the building's fault. It wasn't the location of the building. It wasn't that it was too expensive. It's just that our business did not need that yet.
Right.
We were trying to force the business to grow when we should have been letting the business grow as the business is going to grow, kind of like what we're doing now. So probably the biggest regret is that, because if we hadn't done that, I mean, I love my life. I am as happy as I've ever been in my life. I feel more fulfilled. Being in my shoes is a beautiful thing, folks. So don't worry. I'm not sitting here trying to complain about our situation right now. But how different would it have been had we not done that? We would probably be running a successful fish business right now. And we are.
But
but it would have been a completely different thing than what
different
we
way.
have now. And the space between now and then would have been vastly different than it is now if I had just said, or you had said, you know what? It's not time. It's not the time yet.
Right.
Let's hold back on that. And neither one of us were ready to make that argument. So we ended up doing it.
And the funny thing is, I told James Largo the exact same thing when he had, I'm not sure if he asked for advice or.
Oh boy, did he.
But I said, the biggest thing I would tell you to do is don't move out of your garage right away. Stay there as long as you can.
Yeah, and he did. And he did the right thing.
Yeah.
And his business is doing well. Oh, there went the breaker.
Uh-oh.
So that just means I've got to fix that. So
Oh, wow.
you got to talk now.
Whoa, the breaker goes
gotta
off
figure
and
out
I
how
get
to
to
fix this
talk.
problem.
So, yeah, we have a heater in here because I was cold. I did finally take my gloves off, but anyway, the heater must have tripped it, but
I got to fix that, otherwise the tanks are going to overflow in the summer.
it's back on though, right?
It is.
All right.
The lights are probably going to be a weird color, but
Oh, well.
yeah,
You
we've
know
got a little bit of red and a little bit of.
So John's next regret is not having it properly set up so that we could have a heater on with this and run it. So that's John's next regret, right?
Yeah, I got to figure that part out. But anyway, that's not my only regret. I got another one.
Oh,
But it's kind of in line with my other regret.
I gotta put my gloves back on.
Oh yeah, I didn't turn the heater back on.
No, don't do it.
I fixed the breaker, but I didn't turn the heater back on. So there is another regret attached to what I've been talking about here. That involves fish keeping. It involves, everything that we're talking about. And this is a huge regret. I very much regret not taking our YouTube channel seriously back then. Because if you look at the history of YouTube, we're talking about 2011. YouTube was still very young, very new. And I'm not trying to say if I take it more seriously, we'd be number one. I'm not trying to say that. But if I had taken advice from other people that were giving me advice, I just wasn't listening. If I had taken the YouTube channel more seriously, that could have been another thing that could have helped us stay afloat and keep the shop and keep things going.
Definitely doing your best with YouTube at the time. What you thought was the best.
But see, that's the problem. And so maybe my regret is not that I didn't take it seriously enough. It's that I did not listen to people who offered advice.
Okay, that makes more sense because I know you spent a lot of time doing YouTube and I would get so aggravated. I'd be like, I'm the one over here cleaning all these fish tanks and making dinner and doing this and you're on YouTube. I didn't get it. I really didn't get it. I had absolutely no connection with like the YouTube, anybody on YouTube. When we went to the aquatic experience, I literally knew like 5 people because they were people I remember you talking to back in the day that I was familiar with, but I didn't know who. So I'm not going to say names because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I didn't know who really anybody was.
You knew the big players like Joey and Dustin and Corey. And,
yeah, I knew them.
But yeah, there were a lot of new people that popped up from, after
you introduced me to Zenzo, and I was like, oh, nice to meet you.
Does he have a bodybuilding channel? What is it?
I felt bad because I do remember hearing you talk about people, but I really didn't care. And it wasn't because I didn't care about the person you were talking about, I didn't care about YouTube. You would say, hey, you want to make a video about discus or Mbuna? And I'm like, sure. And I'd make a video. But I would never go back and read comments. I didn't know what people said. I didn't even watch it probably because I just was not connected back then. And then things changed.
Well, and the thing is, and anybody that is starting a business, starting a YouTube channel, trying to do anything in social media, 99% of the people who are successful on social media, which we are far from successful, but we're doing well, didn't happen overnight.
Right.
There was a lot of grinding. I know everybody hates that word, but a lot of putting in work and getting nothing in return other than the beautiful comments and the building of a community and all this. But financially, there's nothing coming back. So it's very common for the other half to reject, because it's like, you're spending all this time on this and we're not even making any money from it. You thankfully never did that. But
well, I didn't look at it as making money back then.
And neither did I. And that's what I'm saying.
It was
if I had played the game right back then, we would have maybe made some money and it would not have gone down the way it did. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So I'm not trying to get anybody to feel sorry for me. We're talking about fish keeping regrets here, and that is completely involving fish keeping, because that's all our channel's ever been about. And I regret not listening to people like Joey and like Corey that offered up advice for no reason other than to be nice, and I didn't listen. So anybody that's ever taken advice from me and not listened, just remember I just said that, because there will be a day where you'll probably be saying the same thing as me. Like, I should have listened to those people and I didn't because I thought I knew. That's exactly how I am. If I had listened, things would have probably been different, and we'd probably still be in that shop. Who knows? Or maybe we would have moved up to something bigger by now. Who knows?
I think what's funny is there's people that are either in the fish community that are either old school, that like clubs and they like to be, around people and learn that way, hands-on. And then there's people that want to be part of a YouTube community, fish fam, all that. And so then there's that connection. And I think that's kind of what the difference was with us, because you were into the YouTube community. I was into wanting to go to a club or be more hands-on and learn from a book or something like that. I didn't look at YouTube as something that was, somewhere to learn. It took a while for me to get it.
Well, and that's, back then, that was the norm. Like, most people didn't look at it. And that's kind of my point. I was positioned back then where if I had done things a little bit differently, our channel would have probably blown up like Corey's did and like Joey's did. And I'm not saying I would be bigger than those people. I'm just saying it would be drastically different than it is now. But I didn't listen. And those two took off into the stratosphere, and I was left not. But again, I'm not complaining. I still maintain that I would, if I had to do it all over again, I still would have taken that break from YouTube, because I definitely think it changed everything for me. Right. So it's not as much that I would not have taken that break. It's more, I just wish if I had listened to people, I probably would have never taken that break. Things would have gone the way they should have gone. So anyway, I do have a couple of things here from the poll. This topic did come from your Genius poll yesterday, which you always do. And that sounded a little bit inappropriate. And I didn't mean for it to sound that way. But your poll was about fish keeping regrets. It's kind of hard to do that as a poll. It was kind of a yes or no kind of thing.
I was so surprised at how many comments there were.
623 comments on that poll and 12,400 votes. Absolutely out of control. I was thinking about actually talking about the results of that poll. And I think I will, because it's easy to access now, because YouTube has done a great job and included that in the YouTube studio. But because I think there's a lot of liars in this post, in this poll. Let me get to it here. Can I see the results? Oh, yeah. So the poll was very simple. Do you have regrets about fish keeping? If so, what are they? Which is what led to so many comments. 23% of the people voted yes. 40% voted no. And 36% voted sometimes.
I voted that. I voted sometimes because I vote too.
There is no such thing as a fish keeper that has zero regrets. I'm sorry. The 40% of the people that voted no, I think you might want to rethink that. And this is why I wasn't going to go over the results, because I'm going to end up saying something that's mean, and I don't mean to be that way, but it's impossible to not have any regrets. Even if you started in this hobby yesterday, you've probably got things that happened that you regret. It's just part of growing in a new thing, a new lifestyle, a new hobby, whatever you want to call it. You're going to make mistakes. And if you don't regret making those mistakes, then I don't know what's wrong with you. But there are some comments. There was 600, actually, when I did this, which was about a half an hour before the stream, there was 623. Now there's 635 comments. So obviously I could not, we can't go through them all. I mean, that would be outrageous. A lot of people did take the poll wrong, meaning who cares what I'm trying to say, but the way they commented about it was almost like you asked a different question. They would say like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but it was more like listing out mistakes that they have made. But now that I think of it, maybe they regret those mistakes. And so it is appropriate for the poll. But I did have a couple of them jump out at me that I wanted to talk about here tonight. And the first was, a lot of people said not doing enough research. That was probably the number one thing that people said in the comments. I'm not going to single any individual out, because there was probably 100 of them that I saw that said not doing enough research, or not looking into the fish that I wanted and just buying them anyway, and then realizing they can't go with that fish, or realizing my tank's not big enough, whatever. But the main point is research. And I agree, there's no excuse for not doing your research, because research is so easy now. Research is watching videos, listening to podcasts, reading articles on your phone while you're sitting on the toilet taking a dump. Whatever it is that you're doing, you can have access to this information. And so it is very, very easy. If you're not somebody that responds well to reading articles, unless it's about the 2021 Corvette, or a Lamborghini or something, I can read stuff like that all day long, but I'm not going to read something about science and have it absorb. I got to watch videos, or I got to whatever. There's no excuse for not doing that. But I will say this. There are a lot of people that will research themselves right out of this hobby. And so that's the problem. There's no way anyone is ever going to participate in this hobby or in this lifestyle and not make mistakes. It's not possible for that. So you're going to make mistakes. Fish are going to die. Water is going to get on the floor. Things are going to happen. And there's nothing that you can do that's going to stop that. You're never going to be perfect. And I don't know anybody that has come to me and said that this has happened, but there has to be people out there that research themselves so much that they're just like, this is too much for me.
Right.
It's too complicated. This guy says this, and that guy says that, and this fish and that fish and these plants. It's too much. I'm out. And so I'm somebody, when I try something new, I just go for it. I've always been that way. When I got my first aquarium, I put fish in the tank that had no business being in the tank. I didn't know anything about the aquarium cycle. And I'm not saying what I did was right, but that's that's how I learn. I got to get my hands dirty. I got to get down there and go for it. And I learn better that way. I have found that it's fun when I decided I was going to get a new camera, or I decided I wanted a new camera and was going to beg you to allow me to get one. I started all of the videos from all the channels. Which is the camera that I should get? Should I get this one or should I get that one? And I watched so much of it that I got burnt out. And it was just like, I don't even want to watch this stuff anymore. And
Right.
I have a feeling there's a lot of people in the fish keeping hobby or considering becoming a member of the fish keeping community that are the same way. They're just like, there's so many channels, there's so many videos. You type in any topic you want. There's going to be 1,000 videos that pop up about that particular topic that you punched in. It could be overwhelming. And so research is critical, but don't research yourself out of the hobby. That's all I was trying to say. It took me 20 minutes to say it, but I hope that makes sense. I mean, I really do think that there is such thing as over research, going too far with it. And you always feel like you're missing something. And I'm guilty of the same thing. So I am definitely a hypocrite, but I don't know. I don't even know if I'm making any sense. So let me move on to the next thing.
I'm currently using my phone now because this.
Did it really?
Yeah.
We'll have to hook you up to my laptop next time. The next one that was a very common regret, and I guess this is a regret. I don't know, but it's the expense. A lot of people, I don't know if they were necessarily saying that the expense is a regret or if they were just looking at it as an opportunity to complain about the expense of fish keeping. My response to that would be actually very simple. It doesn't have to be.
Right.
This is another symptom of people going overboard with the research. Because you can be convinced if you're like, you know what, I heard something about that Seachem tidal filter. I've heard it's pretty good. I'm going to type in a video about it. And then you see me. What was the thumbnail I did for that video? It was one of the funny ones. Oh, it was me holding the filter, looking down at all the people with their hands up like this. Yeah, that's right. You see that video that I did on the Seachem tidal and you watch it and you're like, I'm convinced now that I have to get that. And I'm not trying to say that was the point of that video, but what I'm saying is people can take it that way and they can all of a sudden feel like I have to have that filter. That filter is the only thing that's going to help me to progress in this hobby. And it's just not true. A sponge filter is fine. I'm not going to put a sponge filter in that or in the one behind you, but you know, if you've got a small tank, sponge filters are fine. But yet you're going to look at that fancy filter, whether it's that one or it's the new Marine Land, which I guess really isn't new anymore, or the Fluvels or whatever canister filter or whatever filter you're looking at. You might convince yourself that you absolutely have to have that, and then you buy it, and then you complain, I can't believe I just spent $75 on a filter for a 50-gallon tank. When in reality, you really didn't have to do that. So, but I do think that it can absolutely be a thing where you get into this hobby thinking the way I do, where it's like, hey, it's just a glass box. I'm going to put water in it and I'm going to slap a little teeny air bubbler filter in there and we're all going to be good. And then next thing you know, 2 years has gone by and you have 18 tanks and you have all these fancy lights and heaters and the expense is out of control. I can definitely see that being a regret, but it doesn't have to be that way. You have anything? Okay, I'll keep going then. Two more that stood out to me from the comments on that poll. And one of them is an absolute no-brainer. It is, I should have bought a bigger tank. This is why...
I agree with that one.
Of course. This is why I always, anytime I've ever talked about size, I have said, bigger is always better. And then I've put in my little Michael Scott clip afterwards, which I'm afraid to do anymore because there's been such a thing with copyright lately. But Michael Scott saying that's what she said, in case you don't know who that is. I always talk about get the biggest tank you can afford. Even if you're keeping something like Harlequin rasboras, they'll go perfectly fine in a 20-gallon tank. But if you can get a 55, you may end up spending less money because you're going to eventually want a 55. And so you're going to buy that 20 because you're like, well, it's cheaper. I can get that now. And then 7 or 8 months later, you buy the 55. So now you've spent money on 2 tanks when you could have just spent it on 1. So, but buying a bigger tank that has to be the most common regret in this hobby.
Probably.
Because a lot of people are going to pick the tank first, and then they're going to pick the fish. So it's like, okay, I can afford a 20-gallon tank, so now let me go pick the fish. And then they end up seeing that Oscar. Oscars are always the one I use as an example. Isn't he a pretty one? And then they're like, well, now I have this Oscar in a 20-gallon tank. And then they show it on YouTube and people lose their minds. And you're like, oh my God, I have to buy a bigger tank now. And so, yeah, it has to be the biggest and probably the most common regret in this hobby. Giving you the opportunity to step in again if you'd like. Nothing?
I mean, I agree with that. Unless you're somebody who is just determined that all you want is a beta, then, you know.
Well, yeah, don't buy a 55 for a
Yeah.
beta. I mean, you could.
Well,
That'd be great.
I tried to put a beta in here, and you were like, no.
So let me tell you what happened today. I didn't get the tank actually running until, what was it, like noon today? I had it filled up last night, but by the time I got it filled up, it was just too late to keep fooling with it. So I let it go until this morning. And so the water was super, super cold. Right. I've got 2 300-watt heaters in there. When you said you wanted to put a beta in there, you said beta, but I'm going to say beta. I'm checking my control app here from CJ. The water's 73 degrees.
Right.
And so
well, I
said
didn't
no.
realize that. I thought it was heated.
It is heated, but it hadn't had a chance to heat up 240 gallons yet. So I had to put the kibosh. She wanted one little betta swimming around in that tank, which would have been funny, but no.
It would have been a vacation.
But see, the problem with that, you would run into the same thing that I'm running in with these Severums. I thought about taking the Severums out and putting them in a 90-gallon, and then I'm like, that's so mean. That's like having somebody move out of a 10,000 square foot mansion and putting them in an economy apartment. That's just mean. You can't do that.
I mean, what's the difference of us going on vacation? We can't live there forever, you know. It's something nice for a little while, and then you go back to reality. So we could have let that beta have a wonderful life for like a couple weeks.
Do you think that beta is going to think that, or they're going to be like, wow, this is magnificent, and then you pull them out and they're like, wait, I'm in this net again? I mean, come on. They're not going to understand. They're not going to be in the net going back into their little cube downstairs going, hey, gee, that was really nice of you. Thank you for letting me spend a few days in that big tank. No, especially it's not even cycled or anything. I'm not going to do that to little beta.
The Zen Ginger said, biggest regret, telling Lisa I have glowfish. I don't hold that against you. Not at all.
We haven't talked about glowfish in a long time. Glowfish are really cool. Our problem has never been with the fish. It's been other things about that.
Yeah.
But
and it's not about people that buy it. It's nothing like that. I just wish I could say, you know, I just wish that they never started it to begin with. I mean, it's all. I mean, that's it. I think every fish, whether it's a glowfish or a snakehead or whatever, they all deserve a good life. They do.
that is a perfect segue into the last comment that I saw in the chat, in the comments of that poll. And I kind of wish I had screenshotted this one, because I think this guy does deserve credit, because a lot of people wouldn't admit this. And I think it's a really cool name. And I don't know if it's this person's actual name, but the first name was Juan, pretty simple, right?
Like Juan Soto.
Like Juan Soto. And the last name of the account name on YouTube was Mower. Juan Mower.
Juan Mower.
I was like, that's brilliant. And if that's your name, your real name, that's even better, because that Juan Mower, my name's Juan Mower. That's just so cool. But he said, I think it was you that said this, Juan. If it's not, I'm sorry. But I saw fish as decorations, not pets. Which, talking about glowfish, is the perfect segue into that, because that is the problem that we have with glowfish, is people walking by, whether they be small children or grown adults, and they see them and go, wow, that's so cool. I think I'll do that. And they don't look at it as these are living things that you need to nurture and you need to care for. They just look at the spectacle of it, and that's why they buy the fish. And that's what I think Juan Mower said. But if it wasn't Juan Mower, I could say that name 100 times. Somebody said, I saw fish as decorations and not pets. A lot of people aren't willing to admit that. And I said, you know what? That is awesome that this person, I think it was Juan Mower, was willing to admit that. I thought that was very cool. So it's definitely a regret. Now, I can say that for me, the spectacle of a silver arowana is what got me interested in fish keeping. But I also, to the extent that I could, as much as I could, I tried to learn as much about arowanas as I could before I bought them. I didn't know much because I started the fish out in a 29-gallon tank, so it shows you how stupid I was. But information was not nearly as easily or readily available as it is now, so that's my excuse.
They didn't make books back then, right?
Well,
or fish magazines.
I was absent. I told you this. I was absent the day they taught reading in school. I just never learned. So as I'm sitting here reading all of this, but yeah, that's all I have for that. There were a whole lot more. Like I said, 635 comments on that poll. Wow. That's the kind of participation every single one of those polls we dream of. It doesn't happen all the time, but that's very cool. Thank you to everybody that participated in that poll and everybody that commented on it. That's what we love to see, is that kind of engagement. Not because it pleases the YouTube gods, but because it's just really cool to see people getting involved in that.
I love it.
And
I have a lot of fun, putting together the polls and stuff, and just kind of cross my fingers hoping that everybody participates, whoever can. It's just nice to see everybody getting involved, and even people that go back and forth with each other in a positive way in the comments. It's nice that everyone has each other and they help each other. So that's what it's about for me, just to kind of get everybody to communicate together. If I can catch something negative, I'll get it out of there, but I don't always catch it. But for the most part, I think people are pretty good about.
They definitely are. I mean, we aren't, because we get thousands of comments a day. It's impossible, not just on the polls, but on the videos and everything else, the channel as a whole. It's impossible for us to answer every single one of them. But I will give one small piece of advice to anyone that uses YouTube for research, which we all do. When it comes to fish keeping, if you want to get your best response, put your comment that you're asking your question about on a video that has to do with your question.
Right.
We'll do a video on bettas, which we've done a lot of those lately. And somebody will put in the comments,
what size tank should I put my Oscar in?
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're not breaking any rules, but people that are there to watch that video, most likely, are people that are interested in bettas, not Oscars. You might have crazy people like us that are into both. At least I'm into both. But people are still very friendly about that. But when I see that, I'm like, why didn't that person go to an Oscar video? I've got 100 Oscar videos on this channel. Why didn't they go to the Oscar video to ask that question rather than going to the beta video. It's like going to Taco Bell and asking for a hamburger. I mean, it's like, come on, keep it within the same topic. I'm not saying that because you're wrong for doing what you're doing. I'm saying you're much more likely to get an answer that's appropriate because you're in the right place. If you want to learn about exercise, you don't go to a Harley Davidson group on Facebook, right?
I guess so.
If you want to hear Metallica music, you don't go to the Britney Spears channel on Spotify. I mean, how many more examples can I give? So there you go. Now, let's move on before I dig this hole even deeper. Metalhead Prime, what a cool name. This was at 9:17. Hopefully you're still here, Metalhead. My regret is sand substrate, just saying. You guys are awesome. I'll be putting another order in tomorrow. Yay!
Aww.
Sandstrup. Yep, that's what I said. Wow. Sand substrate is not for everyone. It's true. It can be a hassle. It can be a pain. Certain fish will make it an even worse experience for you because they'll throw it all over the place. It can wreak havoc on your filters and blah, blah, blah.
I like it in my discus tank.
I like it in a lot of tanks. There are some, like we would never put sand in an Oscar tank. I mean, because they're just going to throw it everywhere. Or a tank full of frontosas. They're just going to throw it everywhere. So, there's certain tanks that you would regret putting sand in. But yeah, I agree. Fish that never touch the substrate, like discus, it's great. It definitely looks more natural than anything else. Matt Man B, when you get plants from Aquarium Co-op, do you remove the roots from the soil in the little pots, or do you leave the roots in that as you plant them?
I take them out. Yeah, I take them out of the pots. Unless you get the little easy planters because they're super cute and they're awesome. You can just stick the pot right in the little easy planter thing. But if it's a plant that's supposed to be buried in substrate, I will take it out and I will put it in substrate. If it's something like an Anubias or, one of those kinds of plants, I'm not going to bury it in a substrate. I'll find something to kind of tuck it in so the roots are sticking out, or tie, what is it? Not yarn, thread, some kind of a thread around something to hold it on, or even the
fishing line, super glue.
The glue. Of course you want to do that on something dry and then put it in.
Yeah, and most plants are not sent in soil. They're sent in that fiberglass looking stuff.
Yeah, the little.
What's that stuff called? I don't remember what that stuff's called, but it's not dirt that they're in. It's not like a house plant.
Right.
So, you'd want to get them out of there anyway. They're not meant to spend their whole life in there. Miss Metalhead Prime now. The whole family is participating. Cool. Just want to say we just got an alligator gar last weekend for our daughter, and he loves the Carnasticks we buy from you guys. So thanks. Awesome. It's so funny that you say that, because that's what I got my Florida gar when we had the Florida gar in that tank at the shop. I got him eating the same thing. So that's very cool. I'm glad that he likes it. Wouldn't eat anything else, that fish, except if we wanted to put feeders in there, which we would not do. And it was funny because that is the tank and that is the fish that I've talked about in videos in the past. In fact, people got very mad at me for talking about it. That this whole nonsense of there's certain fish that will only eat feeders, it is nonsense. And that was the most stubborn fish we've ever had. And I got that fish eating the Carnasticks. It was a wild caught Florida gar, which I think pretty much all Florida gars are wild caught. And I got him eating Hikari Carnasticks. So yay me. I did a good job with that. Roy S. just got my VIP tickets to Aquashella.
Oh, cool.
Y'all got to go. I'll buy the beers. You'll buy me the Cokes and you'll buy Lisa the wine. I'm certainly not a beer drinker, but you can buy an extra one for yourself. How about that? Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited about it. I really hope it happens. We're still talking 5 months away. It's not that much time. A lot of time for the vaccine to work its way through. Maybe, I got my fingers crossed. I really, really want to go, especially considering it's in Florida. So yeah, we'll hopefully see you there, Roy. Furlough, again, Dory will actually be going with me too. So exciting if it happens. Yeah, that's cool. It's going to be a lot of people that we have met, like Eric Furlough, since the last event. Like, never heard of that person. Never had the chance to to meet that person.
Right.
There's going to be a lot of new people that we're going to meet, which is very cool. I'm excited about it. And Eric, you have no excuse for not going. It's right down the street from you. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Matthew, I'm not going to do it. You're not going to con me into it. Fritzzyme 7, a lot safer in my opinion. Safer than what? The stuff that Melissa was talking about? Or was I talking about something? I don't know. But I agree. I've got 3 bottles, 3 16-ounce bottles of Fritzzyme that I will be putting in that tank because each one of those bottles is for 80 gallons. It's 240. Do the math. Very simple. So I will be doing that. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that right away because I don't have an ammonia source in there. So I'd be wasting it if I put it in there now. But yeah, I agree. Fritzzyme is great. There's quite a few products out there that work. I'm not saying that just because we sell it on the website. But yeah, I like it. We've always had success with it. Matt Orapallo, again, by the way, I owe all my progress and my improvements in the hobby because of the 2 of you.
Aww.
When I've messed up and I have y'all video of, I can't read tonight. I'm sorry. I was absent the day they taught reading. Mm-hmm. When I've messed up and I have y'all have a video to keep me going.
Aww.
Now my hobby pays for itself. So thank you for your videos. That's awesome. Yeah. That's why we do it. I mean, I know I say it every time, but it's true. It's a beautiful thing to make a living doing what we love to do. And then we get comments like that. It's wow.
It's awesome.
It kind of gets old having to say that over and over again because I feel like I'm a broken record, but it is really true.
But not everyone hears you every single week or every other week or the last time you said it or whatever. So it's nice to still remind people that, it's very important.
I think I've said it in probably every live stream. So if you're an avid live stream watcher, you've heard me say it. Matthew, again, he comes in. He's like, I'm going to make this guy say my last name because he botches it every time. My biggest regret is getting rid of my small tanks. Yes. Unless you are someone that lives in a smaller home that you have absolutely no spare space and you cannot allow that 10-gallon tank to occupy the amount of space that it takes up. I understand that. If you have the space, don't get rid of tanks. Because even if you're like, hey, I got this 29 and I just upgraded it to a 55. Yay, I'm going to get rid of the 29 now. Don't. Keep it. Put it in a closet. Put it in the basement. Put it in the attic. Put it somewhere because you're going to use it. One of these days, you're going to use it. Funny story about that. We had a 29-gallon tank that I gave to my nephew, and he used it for a snake. And then when he was done, because he upgraded his aquarium for the snake to a larger tank, he gave the 29 back. It sat here for months without us doing anything with it. And then we're going to set it up. I don't remember originally what it was set up for downstairs.
I think it was, I set it up to doctor the arowana. I tried to.
Right. You're right.
But it was too late.
So it came in handy then, and there's been 2 occasions since then that we've also needed a 29-gallon tank. And one of those is sitting right behind you, where if I had a spare tank, I would have been able to, have that part of my sump system for free. But, it is what it is. You never know when you're going to need them. There's always going to be something, whether it's a hospital tank, a quarantine tank, a fry tank, whatever it is. Don't get rid of the small tanks. Keep them.
Now I have a bunch of female betas in there.
The girls just want to have fun too.
Yeah. I was like, I know exactly what I could do with them.
Yep. Draken XC. I'm probably not saying that right. My heater I got from Walmart, it keeps turning on and off, but it heats and turns on when it feel like it. So is that normal? I think I'm understanding your question. If your temperature is where it needs to be, if you have it set at 79 and the temperature in your tank is 79, then yes, it's completely normal, because what's happening is the air around your tank is significantly different than the temperature. The temperature of the air around your tank is different from the temperature of the water. And so that is bringing your temperature down. Your heater is kicking on to bring it back up to that 79 degrees. If your water is way too cold and the heater's not doing its job, then it sounds like there might be a short in the heater and you might want to replace it. But if the water is the temperature you want, then it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. Most, not all, but most heaters, particularly the glass tubes where you can set the temperature to them, they have built-in thermostats. So if you set it to 78 and the water temperature goes down to 76, just like the heat in your house, the thermostat in the heater is going to detect that and it's going to click itself on so that it can heat it back up to 78. So, and if it's hovering right around that temperature, you will see it kick on and off just to keep it at that same level. So I hope that answers your question. Stephen P. 2003 sent a $5 super chat with nothing else on it. Just here's my money. Just take my money, help to pay the bills this month. Thank you very much for that, Stephen.
Thank you.
Ethan Wilson, that hybrid video by the old store 240, legendary. The hybrid video by the old store 240. I mean, I've done so many hybrid videos, but you know what?
Ethan Wilson has been around since the very beginning when he was just a little kid. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
There were a lot of videos made in front of that 240 that I had at the shop. I missed that tank for sure.
Me too.
That was a great tank. It was a piece of junk. It leaked.
Yeah.
It was ugly. It was beat up. But I paid $150 for that tank because the guy thought it was 150 gallon.
Yeah, I remember that. We had a lot of fish in there that we had bred too, that we grew up and stuck in there.
Yep, we had those fish for a long time. Cindy Groob, I'm going to say Groob. It could be Groube, but there's no little thing above the E. So my hubby just got his 4 Oscars. He has been wanting 2 tigers, 1 albino tiger, 1 albino red. That's what I want. They're about 1.5 inches, look tiny in the 120. You know what's funny?
Oh, but they'll grow quick.
There's an intro to one of the videos that I'm currently working on. That is I introduce the new guy, which is, I can't see myself, but the new red that's over there. And I showed some footage of all of these fish, except for the new red, which is, well, I just got him. Mm-hmm. But the albino tiger and the Severums, when we just got them, and they're like that big. So believe me when I tell you who said that, Cindy, they're going to grow fast.
They
So
do.
that is 1 year,
Yeah,
a year and a few months.
Those 2 jerks have grown really quick.
I mean, if you could see how big they were, all you got to do is go back. The video is me on the thumbnail holding up a big bag of fish and there's a question mark on it.
Wasn't it my birthday?
That was your birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. And Rack actually took that picture. Rack was with us that weekend. Those fish were tiny when I got them.
That's when they were sweet.
Stop talking mean about my wonderful, beautiful Oscars. Lexi Keel, I lost one of my beautiful rams today. Do you have regrets when you lose fish? I feel like an absolute terrible fish keeper. My inexperience probably caused me to something. I can't see it. This fish.
The thing is, people lose fish even when they are experienced. Mm-hmm. So it's tough. I think it's harder when you're inexperienced and you're new because that's your first time losing a fish. So you're beating yourself up over it. And unfortunately, it happens to all of us.
I think that losing a fish is a terrible thing. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. But if it's something that you knew you shouldn't have done and you did it anyway, and then the fish dies, that's a whole different ball game right there. Sometimes fish die. I had one in my 240 last week. What happened there? It's just dead.
Yeah.
And it happens. It sucks. You never get used to it. But sometimes if you beat yourself up for it, you're just beating a dead horse, because you could have done everything right and things just happen that way. So, I don't beat yourself up for it. There are regrets sometimes, like I said, when you make a mistake. I made a mistake with this tank when I originally had 3 arowanas, and it resulted in one of my arowanas jumping out and killing himself. That was my fault, and I absolutely regret making that mistake. But when you just have one just die, there's not a whole lot you could have done about that.
Right.
Fish tank barn. Yep, the YouTube learning curve is steep. You got some good people schooling you, Mike. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? You're going to get through that curve a lot faster, especially knowing that you are receptive to advice. If you're still watching, hopefully you are. So yeah, you got a lot going for you, my friend. But me back then, not so much. People, even Joey has been the biggest YouTube channel. I think he might have been a couple thousand subscribers behind Dustin when I started my channel, but then he very quickly passed him and never looked back. He's been the biggest channel ever since. Even Joey, I would have long conversations with, and he'd be telling me stuff, and I'd be like, what he's saying doesn't apply to me. What an idiot I was. I mean, look at him now, look at us now. Again, not complaining. I'm very proud of where we are, but if I had just listened. Jenny Lynn, I live in Florida, moving to Ocala soon.
Where?
Ocala.
Is it Oklahoma?
Ocala. I have no idea where that is. What kind of problems might I encounter if I try to put a fish in my garage? Well, you're looking at fish in a garage because we are in a garage right now. You know, you do have issues with temperature. Is Ocala in Florida also? Because a lot of the state of Florida is pretty good when it comes to temperature. Yeah. But even the tropical areas of Florida, like the Florida Keys and way down southern Florida, gets chillier in the wintertime. But, you know, temperature is not always going to be the biggest concern. But if Ocala is up in Maine,
Florida.
It is in Florida. Okay.
Yeah.
Then, you know, you're still going to have to battle temperature a little bit, but not nearly as much as we have to, because, you know, we go way below freezing quite often. Whereas in Florida, you know, y'all are complaining if it's 40 degrees at night. Shame on you. But so, you know, the issues that you could encounter, lack of power. A lot of garages are built with one plug in it. Which I think that might be code in most areas. You have to have one outlet for something in there. So you might struggle with getting enough power out there. We've got that issue. And then, you know, temperature control would be the other issues. You know, you don't really have to worry about bugs or anything like that because your fish will just eat them. Bird garden, which I think is Rack. Isn't that Rack? You folks have earned your keep on the YouTube hustle and grind. That sounds like something Rack would say.
Rack is so sweet.
He's got pond life now in his bird garden. Is that shame on me, Rack? If that's you, you know I love you. You know you're my brother from over there in Tennessee.
It's the cat channel.
What?
The bird channel is the cat channel.
Yep. Rack, we might be neighbors soon. I'm trying to convince Lisa to move to Tennessee.
We are not moving to Tennessee.
Oh, just anywhere but King George. HEPA Aquatics. I understand your regret, John and Lisa, but look at where you are today and your approach. Aren't you better for it anyway? Absolutely. And that's why I was trying to say, I'm not complaining about where we are. I am thrilled with where we are, where we've come, what we've accomplished. Every single day, I say we have to recognize how lucky we are. I promise you, I say that every single day. all I was trying to say was how different would it have been? And there were some dark times between 2015 when we shut the shop down and like 2017. There was some.
It was bad. It was so bad. I was the one, I do the bills. So when you have so much money and you're trying to figure out, do you pay the electric bill at the fish store or do you pay the electric bill at the house? It's pretty bad. That's a bad place to be in. I was like, obviously we have to pay the electric bill at the house. So,
well, and again,
it happened so quick too that.
And again, neither of us are trying to garner sympathy from anyone.
No. Definitely a learning experience.
Do not feel sorry for us because, we did what we did and we made mistakes and things happen. We are in a beautiful place right now. Again, we pinch ourselves every single day. It would just been nice to not go through those dark times.
Right.
I don't think I would have had the blood pressure problems and all this gray hair. I don't think would be here. Look in those videos in 2015. I didn't have any gray in this thing. It was all over those couple of years. Furloughs Aquatics, I started creating content on YouTube because of you and Lisa.
Aww.
Never would have done it if it weren't for you too. I'm sorry, Eric, because if you fall for it like so many of us do and you start to obsess over it and it's all you think about and all you do, I'd like to apologize in advance. But that's very nice of you. Thank you.
I happened to stop by for probably a minute. That's about all I had. But I saw Eric on Bob Kaler's channel one day recently. I don't even remember what day it was. I've been so busy. But I was like, oh my gosh, Eric is on Bob's channel. That's so cool.
He's getting around. Oh my Lord. We got 3 minutes left. This is crazy. Oh. We're not going to miss anybody, folks. Don't worry. Charlotte Adams became a member, also a customer of ours. Welcome to the team. You're a member of the team in several different ways now. Molly A with the 99 cents. Thank you so much for that. David Glass, my regret is that I wish I never stopped fish keeping 30 years ago. Oh. I've taken some breaks too, yep. and definitely regretted it. But it really makes you appreciate it that much more when you come back.
Yep.
So that's sometimes a break is a good thing. Gives you a chance to regroup and think about things.
I took a break when we closed the fish store down. I was just so done. It was really bad for me.
Yep, like I said, dark times. Christine, I'm not going to do it. Regrets buying fish on impulse and then having to rehome later. Starting kid in the hobby and then tears when things go wrong. Bettas and vases back in 2001. Yep, all the things that we've been saying. It's so true. And that is a good point. I wish I had seen this much earlier. That's a good point, a good argument against not getting kids involved because then you've got to get them through those dark times when things go wrong. But of course we want all kids involved in this hobby and it'd be particularly nice if ours were involved in it. Owen Hudson, love the guy's name so much. As a marketer who can speak from experience, your attitude towards the fish keeping hobby is equally applicable to the digital landscape. Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Thank you, Owen.
Very nice.
And I'm so glad I learned how to say your name properly. That's a huge compliment. Thank you very much. Anthony Hernandez became a member. Lots of new members tonight. Super exciting. Dragon Hunter Isaac. Hey gang, just listening in while I set up the terrarium for my bearded dragon Godzilla.
Oh, cool.
I'm still...
That's a cool name, Godzilla.
Still really jonesing for the possibility of maybe doing a reptile someday. She won't let me now, though, but I'll work on it.
Jordan has a...
Gecko.
Is it a gecko?
Isn't it?
I don't know. It's a lizard named Laszlo.
I saw one at a fish store when I bought my red Oscar, and I sent her a picture. I was like, oh... it wasn't for sale. It was a pet of the owner's, but it was awesome. I don't even know what it was. It was just really, really cool. JFK2, $24.99. Good grief. Alien Beta number 5 is awesome. Thank you, guys.
Aw, yay.
That is great. I'm glad that worked out. bought a fish from us
Oh.
and then paid us $25 just to say that. Wow, what a world this is.
We will definitely be having more aliens up soon.
We got 24 more
I
in.
have some in quarantine. Actually, I have a lot of fish in quarantine. To be exact, I have 516 betas right now, but they are not all on the website because I like to quarantine them for a while first before I put them up to go through their next journey in life. So
We got to fatten them up. We got to get them all settled in and all of that. Yeah, she puts a lot of work into this, folks. Trust me. So, but that's awesome. JFK, glad that worked out for you. Dan E, know any good online resources for a true lemon Oscar? No, I sure do wish I did, though, because I sure would like some. I went to a bunch of fish stores over the weekend, and none of them had any Oscars at all. They did have little ones. If you live in Maryland, House of Tropicals, they had little ones, lemons, but obviously I couldn't do that in mine. So Fish Room Fever became a member. How about that? And he is streaming now, so we got to get done. He's not listening to me. Thanks, James. Matt or Apollo again. Last comment. Sorry, Lisa. We have been breeding bettas, but please, people, watch her video. Learn the breeding. Find a place to sell. Yeah, our contention is...
Don't apologize. If you're breeding betas and you have a backup plan and you know what you're going to do with them and they're all going to have wonderful homes, then more power to you.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Stephen Callahan, what yearly show is the best for everybody, everyday hobbyists? Great deals on products, livestock for sale. Those are, if you're looking for fish, you're going to be better off going to more local events. The large yearly shows like the Aquashellas and stuff like that, you don't usually see fish for sale there. And Aquashella is going to have better deals on products. And Aquashella is pretty much the only one you have to choose from anymore because there is no such thing as Aquatic Experience anymore.
Yeah, but there are clubs that do things, you know.
Which is why I was saying the local ones, that's where you're going to want to go. Yeah, for sure. Leo Contreras, what's the best temperature for African cichlids? And I have a 2-inch polystigma. How much should I wait till I add him with the bigger cichlids around 6 inches? If he's 2 inches, you need him to be a minimum of like 2/3 the size of those big dogs. Mm-hmm. The best temperature for African cichlids, we have found right around 80. Mm-hmm. That way you have some flexibility. If you want to let them settle in and get real comfortable, you can raise it up. If they're being too aggressive, you can lower it down to 78. Might calm them down a little bit. 80 is kind of that sweet spot. Self-Injury Unmasked. That's an interesting name. Wish I could send more, but you guys and the members of Tank Talk have been so helpful, and I recommend you to everyone. P.S. Tiger Barb video, please.
Oh,
We've talked about tiger barbs before.
I don't think we've ever done
we haven't done an exclusive video for
yeah.
him now. Maybe someday. We'll see.
Because it's not like there's just one kind of tiger barb. There's several out there.
We're already 3 minutes over. I'm sorry, folks. I love KG. We love you too. Thanks for personally signing my invoice. So cool. Aww. We do that for everyone. And that's why we do it, because people get a kick out of it. I don't know. And a lot of them, if you buy a fish, it'll be both of us that'll write you a little note. Yeah. But normally, if you're buying dry goods, it's just going to be me. Sorry.
Yeah, I do all the fish bagging and preparing them and everything. Matt
or Apollo, again. He's like, I'm just going to go ahead and pay their car payment this month. Okay, last one. Thank you. We'll be changing my YouTube name after the move because we are adding 40 tanks as my local fish store is expanding. Wow. So my fiance and I are going to be expanding breeding because it keeps her home with the kids.
Oh, wow.
That's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And it's nice that he's with somebody that is doing it with him and they enjoy it together. That's awesome. That
is a game changer. You don't need to keep sending us money, Matt. Good grief. You're spoiling us.
You got fish to feed.
Speaking of spoiling us, Whips World, who spoils us every single week. Thanks, y'all. You are the best. Thank you. You're the best, too.
He just got a tank just like we have Scott and Georgian.
Nice.
He had asked me about it, like, where we got them at and everything and the names and... Yeah. It's
good. They're great little tanks.
They really
Scott's
are.
Right there, but because of the way we have the picture cropped here, you can't see them.
I hear a lot of people talking about or something about bad reviews on that tank, but we've never had a problem with either one of them. They don't leak. They're perfectly fine.
I'm not a huge fan of the fact that there's no handle to lift the lid.
Oh.
That kind of bothers me, but it's, I mean, whatever. Put a little thing on there. It's no big deal.
Right.
Syed Husseini, I'm probably not saying that right. I want to buy fish, but I do not know which fish can be together. That's a problem. But here's what I would say. Whatever fish you fall for, Oscars, discus, angels, bettas, whatever it is, just start watching a lot of videos on YouTube. Wear yourself out on videos on YouTube, because more than likely there's been people that have made a tank mates video, or maybe they're just showing their fish and you can see the other fish that they're in there with and stuff like that. It'll give you a really good feel for what can go with what. And then going around to different groups and things like that. I stay as far away from Facebook as I possibly can, but that's the easiest way to do it. One simple search on YouTube is all it takes, and you can watch for hours and hours and hours, just like I do. Phoebe at Jeff Rose Fish Keeping just wanted to say thank you for all your knowledge and for staying committed to these lives. We always enjoy. Take care. That's awesome.
That's so sweet.
And glad to have y'all back too. That's very, very cool.
And congratulations on the baby.
Absolutely. That was a surprise when we heard about that. Not like...
I know, it was like, wait, there's a baby?
Yeah. We're already 6 minutes over. And then Owen comes in again because he has the same last name as me. And so he says, I'm just going to keep throwing money at these people. No need to call out. Enjoy that next stream, y'all. You're late for.
Oh, yeah. We better get off.
You're not going to send me a super chat and us not comment on it. So
thank you.
Yes, but thank you so much, Owen, for that. That's going to be it for us tonight, folks. Thank you all so much. I will pass it off to you to quickly say goodbye to everybody.
Yes, and my gloves, I still have them on because I'm freezing, but thank you, mods, so much. We appreciate everything you do for us and everything, just being here and helping out. You guys are awesome, super quick, and don't be mad at me, Candy. Earlier in the stream about the age thing. Don't be mad at me. Oh. But anyways, I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week. Go check out Fish Room Fever's live stream tonight, and tell
him we said sorry for going late.
Yeah, it could be like hashtag late. Hashtag late. But anyways, have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week. Bye.